What's up, guys? Welcome back to Breakout Trading. Today is Wednesday, October 7th, and it is the 7th day of my Trade Zero account journey, challenge, whatever you want to call it, the struggle. Today was a pretty good day. I got my report card up here. So today was a small red day, down $5.30 net. So that means including all locate fees and commissions, that's how much we were down today. So not bad. I was down about, check my papers, I was down about $19 at one point, and then I had a nice trade right at the end of the day that kind of brought me back. So I basically just typed all this up, so I'll just kind of start reading this over so this video is not forever. Small red day. Today was not bad. My execution is far from perfect. It needs a lot of work. But I feel like I continue to improve in the small cap / gapper environment. That's what I have kind of been trading this whole time. Basically, I think that like all the little small caps that gap up, they have whether you're going long or short, they always have the best volume and the best liquidity. In my experience, those are the ones that seem to do the craziest moves in a day and move the most. You know, I like volume, I like liquidity, I like the movement. I don't really like just staring at, you know, like Apple all day and it moves like 1%. You know, I want to see a 60% ripper. So that's the reason I stick to those the gap scanner list stocks. So I find myself continuing to improve in this environment, learn their movements more, learn what different floats trade like, what different market caps trade like, what different companies and news releases and everything. So yeah, I find myself knowing more and more about what is about what is about to happen, but I am still unable to make money off it consistently. This is very frustrating because I am losing money while I feel like I'm being right. It is not enough to just know what is about to happen. You must execute the trade based on that. If one is slacking, the other will not work. So analysis and execution go hand in hand. So today, for example, on SUNW, I knew exactly what was going to happen. It was going to pop up into VWAP and then fade, but I took a loss on both shorts on that because my execution wasn't good, even though my analysis was correct. So you have to have both of those perfectly aligned to have a profitable trade. Overall, I feel like my entries are really good, but my take profits are terrible. I never wait for the bigger move. I always take what is in front of me. I have to shake this, or I tried to shake this. I do have to shake it, but it's very difficult. For some reason, I always just take the profits, like when they're there. I just take them, and then my losses, sometimes I let those run. And that's why, yeah, it's something to improve on. And then this is what happens is, it makes me have consistently small winners and black swan losers, where it needs to be the opposite, where I have consistently small losers and those I just let like a few winners, like for example like SPI or something, just absolutely just rip, and then that'll make like my week or even my month. So that's what I need to do, is flip that, because right now I have a bunch of small wins and then one big loss just comes and wipes everything out. So yeah, definitely need to work on that. There was one instance today on the second SUNW short where I was willing to risk way too much because of emotions after I took a break, even after I took a break, just to be right. So I had two short trades on SUNW. The first one, I'll show you, there's actually a video, it's brutal. And then I took a huge break because honestly, like if you see the video, I look pretty pissed, and you comment if you'd be pissed too if that happened to you. I'll show it to you, it's pretty funny, it's not too long. Anyways, that happened, and then I took a break, went outside, walked my dogs, and then I came back and immediately just hopped into some SUNW short, like with no plan, no anything. So, and then I put my stop loss way over the high of day, which was like a $60 risk. So it was just stupid. Like, it was just total emotional trading. That's why I rated that one 3 out of 10 on the execution there. Never put yourself in a situation where you can take a big hit. That goes back to this. You want to have your consistently small losers. Don't ever put yourself in a situation where if something happens, your account's wiped out or you take a huge hit like I did in both this account and my Interactive Brokers account, you know, that's all just emotional trading. That's all that it is you can always calculate how much you're willing to lose and just stick to that, and you'll never have a big loss. It's literally impossible. It's only your emotions that are going to allow you to have a huge loss and ruin all your progress. There's no reason to do that ever. All other trades today were managed well using the Excel sheet. Okay, so the first trade today was SUNW. So every morning when everything's gapping up, I kind of just jot it all down on here. I used to pay for it. It kind of did it like automatically on Dash Trader, but it was it was 20 bucks a month just to have all this info, so it's easier to just write it down for free. So I basically write down the float, the market cap, and the news of everything that has gapped up, and I can glance at this throughout the day and know, like, okay, this one's only a 1.78 million float. Those are going to move a lot different than a 34 million share float. So PEC and SUNW were both gapping up on this news of construction projects being announced. They're both connected. They're both solar companies. So when one moves, the other kind of follows, and they can have sympathy plays off each other. But I focused on SUNW because PEC only had a 1.78 million share float. So if this thing wanted to just instantly rip your face off, it could. Whereas SUNW, it's going to be a little bit harder. The reason I decided to go short was because the daily chart seemed like an overextended gap up with no clear support until 341. That is, I'll show you that. So SUNW here, oops. So it had like that huge ripper day with SPI, and then it kind of pulled back and consolidated here around 250, and then today it just kind of like popped its head up, and to me it felt like it was going to fade all day because lots of people who bought in here were going to want to take some profits here, as well as anyone who's trapped in here. So this seems kind of like it's just floating. It doesn't really have anywhere to go other than this these two tops here, right down there at 341. It technically has no resistance either, but I was hoping it would come down and fade down to 341 today, and you can see it's kind of like on its way to do that right now. So that was the plan. At the open, it was below its pre-market lows and below VWAP. So this is a key thing for my short strategy. One sec, I'm trying to look for these couple tools here that I don't see. Okay. So yes, you see, if you see these lows here, so you can see how it kind of had like support along this area. It was bouncing off it. And then as soon as we opened, we went below, and this wick here confirmed this area as resistance. You can also see we're kind of downtrending there. So there was that big wick. I don't trade the open. I've always gotten wrecked trading the open, so this is why I didn't short the first pop there. But I did the right move, and I went to short the second pop. Let me zoom in a bit. So this is kind of the level I was looking at. Roughly, and then you can see we come down and we start to move up. So I shorted my first bit here, and then I added another bit short here, and then I literally got stopped out by like a few cents, and then the thing absolutely dumps right down to where my profit target was. So like this is an instance of me having the exact right idea. Short these pops below VWAP or below pre-market lows. It's moving down. It's a downtrend. It doesn't have any insane volume to the green side, the bullish side. It's just, it looked like it wanted to fade all day. So I actually thought that this was going to be a great trade, which it had the potential to be. So I recorded a little live video. So I will go ahead and play that, and you guys can see if you'd be pissed off in the same situation. Alright, what's up, guys? So right now, I'm short SUNW, which is a solar company. And the reason being is that you can see that it's gapped up here pre-market, and we're now selling off below these pre-market lows, and we are below VWAP. So I'm hoping that these bounces into VWAP are all going to be shortable. My risk right here is above this pivot high, and VWAP. So 460 is where I will be stopping out of this position after I add another 11 shares here if we get up to VWAP. I'm using this spreadsheet to help calculate my risk. So you can see down here, this trade's risking $9 because my risk level's at 460, like I just said, and entry price is around 431. That's my first add.
Really good high there. BBTR guys opened up, broke through the initial morning high. Now we're finally getting a trade line VWAP cross with the highest volume of the day. You can see that there's a lot of resistance right here.
So basically, we're going to see what happens here. It is curling up towards VWAP, which is slightly concerning. But so we might have our have to stop out of this. Oh wow. Okay, so we're going to put a stop loss cover there. That is the stop cover right there. That volume spike did not look good, to be honest. So we're probably going to get stopped out of this position. I do not like that green volume coming in. But, you know, I'll keep this here and we will see if this is a fake out or what. Doesn't look like a fake out, so that sucks. Probably gonna get stopped out right here on this short. There we go. So down that trade down quite a bit because I had some borrows too. So yikes. Well, that was a pretty explosive move, honestly. That was a pretty explosive move. Aw man, don't tell me I got totally wicked out. So that sucks. I knew something like that was gonna happen. I absolutely knew it. There was gonna be a big pop, and I was confident to add here, and my stop, I guess, was just too tight. I should have had my stop loss above the high of day here. Man, that really sucks. That really sucks. Yeah. So you let me know there in the comments section, you know, what would you do? Not much you can do, but yeah, that sucks. So that was the first trade there, down 13.54, including all the borrow fees and commissions. And after that, I pretty much just left because I was honestly pretty pissed off. I tried my best not to be pissed off, but I was super pissed off. So then later in the day, I came back and I decided I wanted my revenge. And I told myself I would not do this, but I ended up doing it. So I went short again right here and right here when I got back. So it just popped up towards VWAP again, and I just went ahead and got short again. Like just complete revenge trade. But this time though, I sized up and I had my stop loss above the high of day here. So initially I was like, oh, look, I'm gonna fuck, bro, I'm right, so I'm gonna, you know, just hold this until, you know, like, so like basically I was just revenge trading. I took a huge break, and even then, immediately when I sat down, I instantly opened everything up and went short. That's very bad. It started to squeeze kind of again, and I refused to have the same thing happen to me. So I set a stop loss above the high of day, risking around $60. So on this like wick here, let's put this back. So yeah, the high of day is right here. So I was risking above here. And after this little like top was put in, so technically I did have a stop loss all the way up here while this thing was like ripping up kinda. And then as soon as this got put in and it kinda pulled back a bit, I was like, dude, what are you doing? So I just moved my stop right to above this high and was risking like much less. I think then I was risking like 10 or 15 bucks, so that's a lot more in my risk range than the high of day up here, which is just stupid. I soon realized how stupid that was and moved it down to 435, which is right around here, above the last high tick. Yeah, and it came back up, so it didn't even fade. And then like after this, I was like, okay, like it's finding support right here. It's made a higher low now. I'm done. So it started to curl towards view up again, and I just got out here. I realized that this whole entry was just a revenge trade from this fail, and that I should have never entered really here to begin with. And I just don't really know what I'm doing with shorting. Like, I had a good short trade today, but like this was just horrible execution, and this second trade was just complete revenge trading. And you can see even then I stopped out at the highs and it faded down. So like, it's honestly just brutal. Like and after this I just was like, I'm done with SUNW. So that was the second trade on that. Lost another 1160. So we were down a pretty penny. And then my second trade was AREC. So I kind of managed to, you know, say whatever, even though I was kind of bummed. I don't know what it is about me taking the losers first thing in the morning, but like literally every trade I take, I feel like it's a loser first thing in the morning. Super frustrating. So anyways, then along came AREC. So it formed an ascending triangle all day, as you can see. And that looks pretty bullish. It was on my gap list, but I didn't find any news for it. So it was kind of like not really sure why this is moving up so much pre-market, and then had that big rip at the open, so a little bit weary in that case. Yeah, so I thought this was going to break out big at this point. You could see we came down and we were below VWAP, and we were below this sort of pivot high here. So I figured that like once we broke past this high, this one here, this thing would like absolutely just rip to the moon, and I was ready to sell at the high of day. But that wasn't the case. So what happened here is I decided to enter in early because I didn't want to have to enter in up here and then have like a bad R&R in case this happened. So I entered in right here along this really nice support line. You can see we had like held it pretty much all day, so I felt confident entering here, and my risk was very well managed. It was right under this pivot low there, so around 333 was my stop loss. And then it started to come up here above VWAP, but I had lots of trouble over VWAP. So I took off about a third of the position right there below this high, and I was just holding off to let the rest ride, and it just looked weaker and weaker and weaker. So I set a stop below kind of these lows. It eventually came down, stopped me out, and luckily I didn't stick along for any of that that downward movement. And that was actually from an offering. So it was literally about to break out of an ascending triangle, and then they do a stock offering. So what can you do? It popped up. Yeah, I took a third off and held the rest and stopped out on the breakdown. I had an offering, so I was looking to not get stuck in that. So even though it was a kind of like a losing trade, I still ended up in the green on it net. So plus commissions, I ended up making 630 there just because I took a piece off right there. So that's why you always take a piece off, even if, because like obviously sometimes these things will rip, and then you know if you held your whole position to the high of day, obviously you'd make a hell of a lot more than if you took off bits as it went up. But then stuff like this happens, and instead of taking a loss whatsoever, I'm actually in the green. So that's why I always scale out. Not much to talk about on this one. It was just a failed ascending triangle breakout. And then the last trade of the day was a parabolic short on CCV into daily resistance. So this is what happened here on CCV. it was just uptrending like literally all day on sort of lower volume, and then all of a sudden it just started like taking off like parabolic with this huge increase in volume. So this is kind of what caught my attention when it started to really go parabolic, and I figured it would be a pretty good opportunity to short. This was a very well executed trade. CVV wasn't on my watch list, nor did I know any of the reasons why it was pumping. I didn't know if I had some news or anything. I didn't know the float or market cap. So I saw this and I just decided, I saw it like honestly right around here, so I decided that it was a good short, and I just instantly borrowed some shares and started scaling in based off the daily chart that I'll show you in a minute. The reason I'm not kicking myself for not holding this thing all the way down is because I didn't know, it wasn't really like a setup for me. I don't really short, I'm just starting out shorting, so I'm a little bit nervous of getting squeezed. And I didn't really know why it was pumping. I didn't know the information necessary to really dig deep into this thing. So it was kind of like a nail and bail trade. And I was kind of scared of getting squeezed, to be honest. So basically the analysis here was, if you look at a big old monthly chart of CVV, you can see that we had all these areas of resistance way back in 2006. And then they were flipped to support, and then now they're flipped again to resistance. So I had all these little like bottom ticks of all of these marked out, and my stop loss was right up here at $8.10. So if it managed to rip through all of those, I wasn't sticking around to see how high it could go. I would stop out there. I think it was like a $20 or $30 loss. So big but manageable. And it just started poking its head up into this. So I just started going short based on the intraday chart, which was going parabolic and was sort of like apexing out. You can see that the volume here is really started to ramp up, and we're like just pretty much just going straight up. And obviously these things can squeeze, but you know, it was worth a shot because not all of them squeeze, obviously, like this one, and they're really good short trades. And that's the kind of style I want to start doing too. I don't just want to be a long biased trader, I want to do both. So the 3-minute chart started going straight up, but the volume looked like an apex. Also on the daily there was a huge block of resistance. My stop loss was at 810. The first 3-minute candle closed red with an apex of volume. So as you can see here, this was a massive like top. You know, it's the first out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 3-minute candles are all green, and then we have this one massive one that's red. So, and a nice little wick doji at the top. So originally I started scaling in at the whole number of $7. That was that first entry, and then I added more up there at 730. I think I was added two lots of, or 2 tiers of 20 shares, so I was short like 40 shares if I remember correctly. And then I pretty much just covered right away at like 668 for a nice $20 gain on the trade. And yeah, it was a pretty awesome trade. As you can see, once again, this is my issue. I have the right excellent entry, top ticked it, good stop loss management. 810 is like kind of up here, so I was ready to stop out up here. But my take profits are just so lacking. I could have taken off like 3 or 4 tiers as this thing faded, but what can you do? I'll just have to remember that for next time. Overall, this is a great trade, though. You know, even if I do this 100 times, I'm fine with that. It's a profitable trade. So, but obviously, I left a ton on the table. I left like $60 or $70 on the table there if I had held and covered near VWAP, or even near the whole number of $6. So, my bad. I had a good feeling that was a temporary top once I saw that volume apex, and yeah, I left a ton on the table. That's okay because my entry was spot on, and I'm a noob at shorting. So overall, execution for that was 8 out of 10, and I made 1370. So this kind of made back the loss, and then this is the chart I showed you. Yeah, this kind of made back like the losses from the day. So yeah, just a small red day. Yeah, just continuing to learn and improve. So that's it, guys. I'll see you tomorrow.